smartphones for a living, and for the better part of 3 years, my SIM card would always go back to a OnePlus device after I was done testing a phone. So up until recently, it was this phone right here, the OnePlus 7T Pro McLaren Edition, and let me tell you, I love this phone. But things might be a little different this year, so you might be wondering what changed. Well, 2 days ago, I was invited to a Samsung press briefing where I was given the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus. Now this is a great flagship, but initially it did not impress me all that much, primarily because Samsung's flagship phones rarely ever excite me. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not a Samsung hater. I do understand the benefits of owning this phone over something like this. You get wireless charging, IP rating, much better cameras, and so on and so forth. But much like most of you watching this video, I do prioritize what I want out of my phone, and for me, performance comes front and center. That's what struck out to me when I initially started using the S20 Plus. It's an extremely fast smartphone. Now, sure, it doesn't bench as much as the Snapdragon 865 toting iQOO 3 or the Realme X50 Pro, but the performance is honestly the best ever from Samsung, the one thing which was holding me back from using their flagship phones. Now, you don't have to take my word for it. I do have some benchmark results, and I'll also do a quick PUBG gameplay to show you guys. So without any further ado, let's jump straight into it. Okay guys, so I'll quickly play a PUBG TDM match on the Galaxy S20 Plus. So as you can see, it defaults to high settings, which is pretty common. Then what we'll do is, so currently the smartphone only supports ultra frame rate and you cannot play HDR and extreme on the phone. But that besides, we'll just enable everything to the absolute max. Okay. So everything is done. Now I'll just play one game of TDM on the smartphone so that you can gauge its performance. So let's go. So by now we have established that the performance of the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus is top-notch. So let's talk about the second reason which was keeping me from using a Samsung smartphone, and that would be the display. You see, while Samsung's Super AMOLED panels offer excellent viewing angles and great picture quality, the company was missing out on high refresh rate displays. Honestly, after using 90Hz displays on phones like the X50 Pro and the OnePlus 7T series of smartphones, it was really hard to go back to using a 60Hz panel. Well, with the S20 Plus, you'll get a 120Hz display, making the panel on this phone the best I've used yet. The higher refresh rate makes everything that I do on the phone feel that much fluid and responsive. Things like scrolling through my social media feeds or just jumping between apps looks visually better and less jarring. The display quality is second to none too. You get a 2K 6.7-inch panel with the phone, which is plenty sharp for watching movies and whatnot, and the panel is HDR10 Plus certified too, so you'll enjoy a wider color gamut when consuming content on the S20 Plus's screen. Oh, and did I mention that the display on the S20 range is flat and not curved? I don't know about you, but I'm tired of poor palm rejection on devices with curved displays, and I'm glad the company has gone for function over aesthetics this time around. So the only thing that Samsung could have done better with the S20 Plus's display is if they would let me use the 120Hz refresh rate with the resolution set to Quad HD+. Now I know that it would drain the battery like anything, but since I'm always near a charger, I would have made that trade in a heartbeat. On to the design now, which is another reason why I love using the S20 Plus. So no surprises here, the S20 Plus has been constructed using glass and metal, and it feels incredibly premium. It's also IP68 rated, and seeing how summers are just around the corner, I know I'll get some excellent shots by the pool with this phone without worrying about ruining it. Then there are other convenience-based features like wireless charging, which saved me a couple of seconds every day as I didn't have to connect a USB cable to the phone. Also, unlike other flagship offerings, the S20 Plus is extremely sleek at 7.8mm and super light too at just 186 grams despite all the tech it packs inside. Coming from the 200 plus grams OnePlus 70 Pro, I must admit it's a good change of pace. Now, while the design of the S20 Plus is really good, it's unfortunately not without its faults. And firstly, you don't get a headphone jack with the phone, which is annoying. And secondly, the biometrics on this phone are just as slow as they were last year and the year before and the year before that, and you get the gist. The fingerprint sensor is extremely slow, requires extra pressure on the display and still doesn't unlock the phone in one go at times. Same goes for the facial recognition software, which doesn't work even when it's a little dark outside. So on the whole, I like everything about the S20 Plus so far, barring the fingerprint sensor and the facial recognition software. And it's about to get even better because the cameras on this phone are just incredible. The camera specs will be on your screen now, so pause the video if you'd like to memorize them. And from my 2 days of taking photos with the phone, I can tell you that the company has finally fixed one of my biggest pain points. Unlike other Samsung flagships, the S20 Plus no longer takes soft water painting-esque selfies, and I couldn't be happier. The rear cameras on Samsung flagship phones has never disappointed me, and the same is the case with the ones on the S20 Plus too. The photos have excellent dynamic range, the picture quality is great, and you know what? I don't want to bore you, so let's just look at some camera samples. The best part about clicking photos with the S20 Plus is that I never had to plan my shot. I would see a pretty flower, point the camera at it, and boom, I'd instantly get an excellent photo. All the shots you saw right now required no manual exposure metering or white balance correction. And the company has even added some really fun modes like single take, which basically lets you take a lot of photos and videos with the press of a button. I dismissed it as a gimmick at first, but I'd be lying if I said that I did not use it more than once. Oh, and this phone can shoot 8K videos, which is just... Samsung has also greatly improved the software experience on its devices, and with the S20 Plus, you'll get the company's all-new One UI 2.0. Now, I'll talk more about the software experience in the full review of the S20 Plus, but what you need to know for this video is that there isn't much bloatware to speak of, and the custom skin is very refined too. I also can't comment on the battery life yet, but to give you a slight idea, the phone is struggling to get me through the end of a day with the display set to 120Hz. So in conclusion, I love using the S20 Plus. In fact, there hasn't really been any other Samsung flagship which I've enjoyed using so much. Now, I'm sure as I use the phone more and more, I'll get to know more about its quirks, but I honestly don't think I could have asked more from a flagship smartphone. Samsung, you had my curiosity at the launch event, but right now you have my undivided attention. But guys, that wraps up my initial impressions of the Samsung Galaxy S20 Plus. Do let me know in the comments below what kind of videos do you want to see about this phone, and make sure to give us a big thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Until next time, this is Pratik from Mr. Phone signing off.